sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. With Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer, we witness that God is one alone, there are no other gods with him, no partners as he reveals in the Quran to Muhammad the Prophet for us, that anyone who comes to him, they come only as a servant, not as a God or office holder sharing in divine office. There is none like him. We witness that Muhammad, to whom the Quran was revealed, is his servant and his messenger and the last of the prophets. The seal of the prophets mentioned in the Quran is the one, also mentioned in the Torah and the Injil, in the Gospel, as the one who comes to purify the people and to relieve them of the yokes of slavery. We salute him with the traditional salute. Prayers and peace be on him, his followers, and his family, all of the followers of that tradition. And me. Once again, dear brothers, I greet you with the greeting of peace. Assalamu alaikum. Juma Mubarak. That is blessed Friday, or blessed Juma Day. For this is a blessed day for the Muslims. This is the most important day for the Muslims, the Juma Day. More important than the more commonly known holidays that we celebrate, the Eid days. For this day represents the obligation that Allah has given the Muslim as a mercy to the Muslim. Allah has blessed us with another opportunity to serve Him, to serve our purpose, to be a benefit to ourselves, to humanity, to society. This day, to emphasize the importance of this day, there's a hadith that says that Adam, who is the father of all humanity, was created on this day. There's been many scholars that have expounded or elaborated on this, and most of them, the common denominator in all of their interpretations of this hadith is that Adam as a representation of not just a physical human being, but a representation of the intellectual being, a representation of humanity being created on a Friday and expounding on what the Jummah prayer represents. The Jummah represents the community life. The Jummah represents the obligation of the community life that Allah has ingrained in humanity. So, we look at ourselves as Adam. We continue to be developed on the Jummah Friday. If you do nothing else as a Muslim, if you do nothing else, but you are obligated to, or have a sense of urgency or a desire to fulfill your obligation that Allah has put on you, then you make it to the Jummah prayer. When you walk through those doors, you see the community. You see those who you have a sense of accountability to. You see your parents. You see those who you grew up with. And you see newcomers. And you also get the fulfillment of the word of Allah. You get the fulfillment and the enjoyment of paying the zakat. You get the fulfillment and the enjoyment of the fellowship with your fellow brother and sister. So Adam being created on this day is a representation of all of those obligations being carried out. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is known and is called in the Quran in many verses the merciful benefactor and the merciful redeemer, Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. We know that we benefit from Allah's mercy and that we can redeem ourselves. And we are redeemed through Allah's mercy. So we look at ourselves as a mercy also We benefit from Allah's mercy, but we look at ourselves, man, as a mercy. It is said in the Quran that everything in creation is a mercy to mankind. As Allah says, in the creation of Adam, when He told everyone to bow down to Adam, after I have breathed into him of my spirit. So when man has submitted to Allah and operates with the spirit of Allah, he then recognizes what Allah has for him and accepts Allah's mercy. Allah is the merciful benefactor because what He has blessed us with is for our benefit to help us grow. But nothing that we do can benefit Allah. There is nothing that man can do to make Allah a greater Allah. There's nothing that man can do to minimize Allah's greatness. But what Allah has blessed us with as a mercy is for our gain and our benefit, to make us greater human beings, to make us greater Muslims. Allah is self-subsisting, self-sustaining. The Quran says, limitless is your Lord in His mercy. Limitless is your Lord in His mercy. We know in Surah Al-Baqarah class, it says that Allah is eternal and absolute. So His mercy has no end. There's no beginning to Allah and there's no end to Allah. And He is the most merciful. His mercy is constant and it is limitless. So it was Allah's mercy that created us. And it is His mercy that will sustain us. And His mercy will call us home one day. Please join me in the dua as we close the first part. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. Our Lord, grant us good in this life and good in the hereafter, and save us from the fires of hell, our uncontrolled passion. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. And ba'd. So the Quran says Allah's mercy is limitless. It is forever. It is eternal. Us as creation, we are a mercy to creation, and creation is a mercy for us. But man's mercy, our mercy, is limited, as we are mortals. We have a beginning and we have an end. Me and my wife were watching a comedy show, and the comedian was talking about our age, how old we were. And he said, you know, there was a time when you were young, and now that you're older, he said, if you're 40 years old, he said, you have about 30 summers left. He said, if you're 41, you got 29 summers. So when you put it in perspective, we gauge things in years. 30 years is a long time, but 30 summers, that ain't that long when you think about it. So putting it in perspective, we don't own time. Time is something that is here and it exists, but it is not ours to have. But what we do own is choices. We all have individual choices that are ours. So what choices do we make with the time that's available? The word deen is translated as religion, which means a way of life. But deen also means death. It means death. We come into this world with a debt, helpless and fully dependent, reaping the full benefits of Allah's mercy. But at some point, as we all know, especially the adults in the room, at some point all debts must be repaid. Debts that aren't repaid have consequences. In real time, if you have a debt, you don't pay it, the creditors come to collect. You don't pay it, they start to garnish your wages. You don't pay it, your credit starts to be bad. There comes a time where you're not able to reap the benefits of the individual or those that you borrow from, so to speak. Our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was asked, if you have a place in paradise, why are you continuously making salah? Why are you continuously, and I'm paraphrasing, fulfilling your obligation to Allah? And his answer was, because I have a special place in paradise, shouldn't I spend every minute of the day showing gratitude, fulfilling my obligation? So it was his perspective. Some of us in this room, and the average individual, if we were like, well, I got that on lock, I don't need to worry about that, then we just go on in a different direction because, hey, we got that solidified. I'm guaranteed paradise. But our example, our prophet, whom Allah gave us as a light, as a guidance, because his place was solidified, he showed his gratitude every step of the way. So what choices do we make? Allah says in the Quran, you are the best community brought out for the good of all humanity. You are the best community. He's not making a suggestion. He is telling us what we are. He is not making a recommendation. He is telling us what we are. You are the best community brought out for the good of all humanity. We were created on Friday. Adam was created on Friday. The most important day, not just for Muslims, but the most important day for all of humanity. Because we believe as Muslims that everyone is born Muslim. So everybody was created on Friday. It is those of us who have consciously accepted this religion on purpose, who have made it to the Jummah prayer, who recognize that Jummah is a mercy, who have accepted everything that Allah has in store for us. So now we walk around and we're equipped with everything that Allah has for us. We have it. We got our pockets full, we got our brains full, our heart is full. We got so much that we can't store it anywhere. We're overflowing with the abundance of wealth that Allah has provided for us. Now what do we do with it? My dear brothers and sisters, this obligates us to be the best in conduct, the best example of a human being, the best in establishing community life, and the best in being a mercy to the world. This obligates us to do that. Again, it's not a suggestion. Hey, I'm just, I see what you got going on, so, I got a few things out here. You can, take this, see how you feel, or take that, and then come back and let me know how you. No. You are the best community brought out for the good of all humanity. That right there obligates you because of who you are. When you apply the concept of time, just punch your age in there. And then you tell yourself how many summers you got left. Do we really have any time to waste? Or are we going to put our best foot forward? Take the tools that Allah has blessed us with and make the right choices to make a change in this society. We're fresh off of this election that just happened on Tuesday. And there was a couple things on the docket. You had the $30 tabs. That was on one end of the coin. But then you flip the coin over and it was the funding for the public transit. So they got passed. Now, if anybody here that's been driving for 10 years plus, there was a time where they said the tabs are going to be $35. I've never seen a tab bill that was $35, but it passed a long time ago. Then I think they repealed it and some other stuff happened. So now you got these $30 tabs, you got all this construction that's going on, and they're going to take the funding away. But they will get the funding to continue this project. So who does that affect? That affects all of us. It already takes us 4 times the amount of time to get to work and to get home than it used to, and we only live 7 minutes away from where we work. But how many people is going to be out of jobs? How many people are voted on this because they thought that their tabs were going to be $30? How many people didn't vote at all? So this is the stuff that's affecting things that are happening around us. We all have families. We got to put food on the table. But we're not picking up the ballot. We're not putting our name in there to make this vote. So the stuff is just getting passed through. The other one was the affirmative action. That didn't go through. Now we know there's other things. That's one side of the coin. And I don't know what's on the other side of that coin, but I can rest assured there's some other foolishness going on there. But the point is, for the so-called minority who is trying to get a leg up, trying to take advantages of resources. So now there was one particular group that had a whole lot of money that they put to make sure that that affirmative action didn't get passed through. Affirmative action has afforded the so-called less fortunate to get contracts, to get jobs, to go to college, to have the opportunity to be successful. And I know some people don't agree with affirmative action because there's other things that come along with that. Of course there is. We're only dealing with the surface. But the point I'm bringing out here is this. There are decisions that are being made. There are choices that are being made that affect us in our everyday lives. And we have a say-so. But it's comfortable to sit back, to watch the game, go out and play with our kids. But when we're gone, when those 30 summers are up, and our kids have to come up the rear, they're going to be the ones that reap the benefits. They're going to be the ones that are victims to all these choices that are being made today. I was talking to a friend of mine. He was talking about how he doesn't have any TVs in his house. And people were talking about the Netflix shows and stuff. Then I was thinking about myself. We got 3 TVs. You add it all up, we got a couple 100 inches worth of screens in the house, and a computer, and everybody's got phones. And he was just talking about his child growing up and how he just sees when he's looking at children how addicted they are to the screens. But it's comfortable to go home and turn on Netflix and watch the game. But what is going on when you sit there and you're watching these shows without any type of a dialogue or any type of understanding or any type of consciousness or awareness? So he just said he was going to eliminate it. These are the choices that he's making to ensure that he said his biggest fear is that his child, his daughter, is addicted to screens like most of these kids are addicted to. And here I am, and I got a couple kids addicted to screens. For sure. They'll tell you. So what choices are we making? What choices are we making that are going to affect us in a positive or a negative way? This is what we do have control over. We have control over the choices. Allah in His scripture tells us who we are. He tells us what we have. He gives us the tools. He says that I have given you, extended to you mercies to relieve you of the stresses that you will face in life, of the hardships you will face in life. And I've also ingrained in you the attribute of mercy so that you can relieve other people of stresses. It is an obligation on the Muslim to free the slave, to heal the sick, to help the blind to see. That is a mercy. It is also an obligation to raise your children. It is an obligation to fulfill your obligation as a Muslim. All these things are mercies for us. And in closing, there's a hadith that says, whatever a Muslim sets out to do, he seeks to perfect it. Allah is perfect, and He makes no mistakes. So you are as perfect as Allah has wanted you to be. And you are not a mistake. So let us be a mercy on purpose. Please join me in dua as we close. Oh Allah, bless Muhammad and the followers of Muhammad. As thou did bless Ibrahim and the followers of Ibrahim. And oh Allah, make Muhammad successful and the followers of Muhammad successful. As thou did make Ibrahim and the followers of Ibrahim successful. For surely thou art praised and magnified in our midst forever. Ameen. Come to Slack. الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم